Hustling world of business, you're either moving forward or falling behind. Welcome to For Action Takers Only, the podcast and Facebook group where dreams become reality. We're here to fuel your ambition, sharpen your skills, and inspire your entrepreneurial spirit. Dive into the sea of opportunities with our insightful discussions, expert advice, and powerful success stories. From investment strategies to business building tips, we've got it all. Are you ready to take your first step towards your dream life? Join us on this exciting journey, unleash your potential, and watch as your dreams transform into your reality. Remember, inaction is the enemy of progress. So get on the action train with For Action Takers Only. Because the time to act is now and the place to start is here. For those who dare to dream and have the courage to act, the world is their oyster. For Action Takers Only, where dreams meet action. Tune in, take action, and transform your life. Your future self will thank you.
And welcome to For Action Takers Only. Today I got on a prominent figure from the SubTo community. His name is Justin Tuminowski. I've been watching him, and I haven't heard his full story, so I'm bringing him in here today because I want to hear how he got started doing this. Since this is our podcast is for newbies in real estate and an entrepreneurship. I can't talk this morning, so that's what this is based on. So I'm going to bring him on in here, and let's get started. How's it going, Justin?
Bro, what's up?
How are you doing?
Dude, I'm amazing. How are you doing? I heard you guys are you in Houston?
Yes, sir. We had a hell of a storm the last couple of days. Yeah.
I heard. I actually, I spoke to Brenda Villafranco. She's a Gator.
Yes.
And I had her on yesterday to the Get Creative podcast. And bro, tornadoes?
Yes. We had some tornadoes. We had high winds. We have power still out in some areas. We were still blinking here last night, so I was getting a little nervous, hoping everything stays stable this morning. So yeah, it's been an adventurous week.
Yeah.
And
that's what become doing electrical, right? Like you said, you had done some electrical and you were in the trade, so like that's where it comes in handy, bro. That's what we get.
Yeah. So let's get started. So I need to ask you how did you get started in SubTo? But you were an electrician beforehand.
Yeah, and it's tough for me to hear were. It really is tough, but I get what you mean.
So how long have you been doing this? Let's start with that. How long have you been doing real estate?
Well, I think I'm going on. I was recollecting a couple months ago. I was like, I think I'm on my 10th year as far as dabbling in real estate. And I said dabbling. That was what I did earlier on. So it would be like, when I'm a licensed electrician. I still have my license, but practicing is very. I'm reducing, and actually it's Pace Morby, who is the person that's always in my ear and on my shoulder, and I can hear saying like, shame on you for putting those tools on, stop doing it. But yeah, 10 years as far as real estate investing, it started with just like fix and flips. I was do a fix and flip 1 or 2 a year early on, and you make 60,000, 50,000 a flip in those days, and I was like, man, I'm gonna be rich. I'm going to be freaking filthy rich with this extra 50 every time. And how quick do you realize that that's not the case?
Right.
But yeah, that's where it started, fix and flip early on, because it was a natural progression. Like that is a natural progression when you get these things right here.
Right.
And we know how to use them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So what brought you to real estate? 10 years ago, you're an electrician. Hey, I'm going to start doing this. What made
I know. Dude, bro, there's a few things. I think when you really look at it, it's like, some hardships coming up, like straight out of high school. I ended up getting an apartment because I had nowhere to go. Like I think my mother was moving to Colorado. My brother moved to back to San Diego. My mother's originally from California. I'm over in Boston area, New England. So we're over in like New Hampshire, Massachusetts, it's all the same little place up here. But it was like either go to Colorado, go to California, or figure out how to make ends meet here. And that was shortly right out of high school. So I was like, shit, I'm going to go become an electrician. But I mean, if you want to go like right in from the early inception and where the bug came from, it was my grandfather, hands down. Still to this day, I mean, he's aging. The guy looks like he's 65, he's 85, and
wow.
Yeah, and but he was a union carpenter, and since I was a freaking tyke, I'd be just next to him, whatever he was doing, fixing his daughter's cars, to working on the house, to framing other, jobs. I mean, he even like built out the school in town that I started at kindergarten. And I remember him touring me through there going, this is where you're coming next year. And he actually like built the huge school. He was on that project. So it
Okay.
was pretty cool. Like I looked up to him, and especially when you're that age, looking at like a guy who can build buildings, you don't know what he's doing. For all I knew, he was sitting in his truck all day.
Yeah.
But, like, I aspired, I liked that, and I liked the trades, and think I like just working with my hands and building stuff. So, I sat next to him and absorbed, every little thing I could, but then he would just yell at me and say, like, "Bro, don't get into don't work with your hands, don't do this, don't work hard, please don't do this, please don't do this, go to college, go to school, go to college, go to school." And I just didn't say anything, but I knew I wasn't going to college. I knew I wasn't gonna do that. Uh,
Hmm.
just from a young age, I just knew, like, I had something else to do. So, I just worked with him on these construction jobs growing up, and then subsequently, like, I would gravitate by the grace of God, whatever it was, like, next thing you know, like, my high school sweetheart or the girl that I, like, dated through my whole, like, adolescence years into high school was, like, her father was one of the biggest contractors in town,
Hmm.
and I worked for him. And then when I was done with him, I ended up going to another guy, like, who I did other stuff with more like when I was like 17, 18, 19. And then I was like, right in that point, I was like 18, I think it was 18, 19. I was like, another guy I knew, he's like, I knew he was successful. I can see what he was doing. He was building his own homes. He was an electrician. He had his own business. And I'm like, Gil is the man. Gil is the dude. And he's a stand-up guy. He's got nice cars. He's got the whole thing. It was like, again, we're looking at materialistic things, but at the end of the day, materialistic items often equate to, you know, financial success to some
Hmm.
degree. You could just know that the guy's doing well.
Right.
And I said, Gil, like, I don't want to be a carpenter in the union. I don't want to do that. I don't really want to be a plumber. I don't want to play with poop. No disrespect, plumbers are dope.
Yeah.
But and I'm like, "Bro, like, I think electrical is my game." And he's like, "Here you go. He's like, "Here's your first set of tools. Here's what you need." He made phone calls, and he knew that I would show up. That's the thing. Like,
All right.
without a doubt, I'll show up. Broken leg, I'll show up. And, yeah, I just pound the door on, a company that I wanted to be in. They were the best and the biggest in the state of Massachusetts, doing prevailing wage, and it took me 6 months to get in there. I called every week, and finally got in. Mm, electrician, here we come.
So professional electrician, then you ended up starting your own business with it, right?
Yeah. So, early on, again, I think, and what I noticed, like, as I become older, I realize the things that I'm, like, I guess, just going after, and I'm kinda always, like, leading my own path, and I ended up jumping into electrical. I ended up bringing one of my best friends with me,
Mhm.
and he was cutting lawns. And again, no disrespect, landscapers, it's hard work. Did it with him for a short period, like in the summers and stuff, trying to make extra money early on. And I'm like, bro, I got into like the electrical the first like 90 days. And like, I remember where I was. It was in a high school project. And I'm at lunch. I'm like, bro, you got to come on. They're looking for an apprentice. You got to come. I'm telling you, put the freaking mowers down, stop cutting lawns. He was smoking weed, cutting lawns. I'm like, you're not gonna get anywhere doing that, like, especially with that attitude. So I'm like, come with me, let's go do this thing. And so he came on board, and bro, like, we just took off in that company. So we took off inside of that company, like, got right up to like, because we just know how to work. And that's like literally, I will be the best worker. And I realize that's not always the best, but like
Right.
it is then. It is to be, if you're an employee, fucking do it right.
Right.
And then subsequently turning into like, hey man, we can do this. We can do this on our own. Like we're really talented. A lot of people we're picking up side work. So then side work turns into like full-time work.
Right.
And then that's when we quickly jumped into like real estate, because just like literally looking at what people are doing, working for the people that you're doing these beautiful homes for, and like maybe it's their second home or they're gone and we're renovating their whole home. It's like, where
Okay.
are they? Oh no, they're at their second lake house.
All right. So you
They're
were
at
doing so you're doing commercial real estate or commercial electrical, or not commercial, but you were doing residential electrical then, and that's how it kind of worked into the real estate.
Yeah, actually, truthfully, yeah, you're right. It was commercial. Like, it was a lot of commercial, but we were doing, our own residential.
Okay.
So it's actually funny you say that because I don't even think of it. It's been a while. I haven't thought of it that way. I was probably, yeah, because we were doing schools, fire stations, public, all public work. So, but I always go, if you're a commercial electrician, like going down to residential,
It's kind of a
uh,
step down. Yeah.
it's a step down, but it's also easy. But it's, we were doing that like on the nights and weekends, and then it became a thing.
Right.
Um,
So
so
your
yeah,
business was your business residential or commercial? Your personal.
um, it started off a little bit of hybrid and
Okay.
then kind of phased out. We were like, let's stop going into Boston. Let's stop going into these things. We can make a bunch of money just doing these additions in houses for just a few builders.
Okay.
Yeah. And then doing our own stuff. So then we were doing full guts. So then, yeah, that's when real estate came in.
So, all right. So you're already kind of getting your hands dirty with doing fix and flips by doing full guts then and doing the stuff in residential.
Oh, yeah.
Is that how you kind of started working into real estate?
Exactly. Yeah, and I was an electrician. I remember where I was, and I've told this story before, but there was a girl that I was like, I think I was chasing her, if I remember right. I was like, yeah, I was kind of chasing her, so I was being a good boy. And I think she said like, "Hey, a light switch in my house doesn't work. Do you mind?" I'm like, she was in the next 2 towns over from me. I'm like, "I'll come by. Well, I'll come by one day and just flop out the switch, be a good boy." I come by and, like, sure enough, I go up and I remember I'm in her kitchen and I'm like unscrewing the plate and talking to her, and she's like, I'm like, "What are you doing here?" It's in like a townhome, but it's in like a townhome of like 6 townhomes,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in a complex of townhomes. And I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, where'd you get this place?" Whatever. She's like, "Oh, my father owns it." I'm like, "Oh, cool. Like, oh, he owns this condo, like, a townhome? When did he buy it?" She's like, "No, he owns the whole complex." I'm like,
What?
"What?" Like, it was like someone could actually own, like, whatever that complex has. It's like 1970s build, like, it was probably 40 townhomes in there.
Okay.
I'd bet it's probably a bunch like 5, 6 buildings of several townhomes. Um, so I was like, "Dang, that's insane." But so that's when I go, all right, this is real deal Holyfield, and there's something here." And then I think that's when we start getting into like books and the Rich Dad Poor Dad, and like I don't really remember like all of it because like I always knew real estate was great. I always knew about it, just never knew like I just never can acquire it.
Okay.
And so then you subsequently just start reading the books, and I think that's when like podcasts really started to come out, I think,
Mm-hmm.
shortly thereafter, and the rest is like compound. So then you just grassroots it. Um, I ended up going like, well, I'm not going to buy something on MLS at that time. I just never thought that I could ever find a good deal on the MLS. So I started looking at like auction properties. I thought that was like the only other avenue to get
Okay.
properties. And I can go into all that, but I'll take a pause there. So it was like, we need to get a real estate. I stopped there and I said, we need to get real estate. We need to either fix and flip because I know that's the probably generate some cash from that, so we can go compound that and then either buy apartments when we're ready or just make a bunch of cash. Um, and that's where we started. And I can go into the auction stuff if you want, or we can go any which way.
We'll
But
come back to that. But who was your say first besides your grandfather? Who was your first influence? Say, you mentioned podcasts started coming up. Who was the ones you gravitated to? Who did you grab onto?
um, I think I don't even know if Bigger Pockets was out then, but I bet you there was definitely some Bigger Pocket stuff, because it was one of the only Brandon Turner stuff, I think, early on.
Okay.
Um, if I remember right. I know that the one book, I will say this, Dean Graziosi, dang it, I forget the name of the book, but it was, he told about his story and he was like living in the story that he tells now, and I think it had a red cover on it, but I remember his book, and I think I was listening to it, and I know I have it, and I was just like, man, he got into real estate as well. So he like came up from the ashes, the marriages and all the BS, living in like a freaking bathroom with his father or something,
Mm.
and then started buying real estate. And I'm like, yeah, see, like this, it's like I'm hearing it over and over. So this must be the path. This must be something that I have to do. And again, it comes down to like the natural progression of loving homes and working on it, working on these homes. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I know how to do it. We know how to do anything. And that's what we always say. We know how to do anything in these homes. There's nothing that scares us. Sure, it costs extra money. There's nothing that scares us. So it's like, why aren't we doing it? It's a competitive edge.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's
So,
what
all
we're
right,
doing.
when did you decide to take that first leap on the first one?
Uh,
Do you remember your first deal?
oh yeah, bro. It was Salem, New Hampshire. I bought bought it online auction. Just
Okay.
rock and roll, like, bros. I think it was, oh man, what the hell was it named? It was like, it's one of those like one off. It was supposed to close like, and then it just took like 60 extra days to close because like everyone went through India. Like it went through like India VAs. And it was like the shit show of excuse my language,
Oh,
shit
you're right.
show of like transaction. But anyway,
Okay.
it was coming right out of, so if you look at it, it was 2013 and I think I finished it on 14, and it came out of, it had 4 feet of water in the basement when I opened the bulkhead because we have basements up here. So
Yeah.
I opened the bulkhead to the basement of the cellar, and yeah, there's like 3, 4 feet of water. I'm like, "Eh, okay, get the sump pump out. I'll see it. I'll come back tomorrow."
Wow.
And, yeah, it's a camp around a lake up here, and it was an older home that had just addition after addition and remodel after remodel.
Oh.
So it was the original home was, like, probably 700 square feet, and then now it was like a 1,500 square foot house. But it was a foreclosure, and it stemmed from the '08s, '09s, that the era of, you know, the economic downturn there we went through. So I caught the tail end of that. And we made, we did all right. But we did everything ourselves. Again, knowing having all the friends kind of came in. My brother came in as painting. Me and my partner at the time came in, did the framing to putting airbags under the house to lift the corner up.
Mhm.
To then, frame underneath it to support it back up. Um, water treatment, tile. I mean, we did everything.
Okay.
So then realize, like, what if you literally exchange your time for the money and you look at it on paper, was it worth it? No. Did we make money? Yes. But we just exchanged the time for money. We probably could have made way more money,
Okay. So
but
how long did that flip take you?
it probably took us 4 months, I'd say. It probably took us 4 months, and then selling it, though, was a challenge where we put it on, like, at, like, December or Christmas time, I remember that, and we got 3 feet of snow. And there was nothing going on. We literally just took it off the market. After we got like 2 snowstorms of like 3 feet, that year was wild. And, so we said, the agent's like, "Just take it off the market. We're not gonna get anyone into the door. Don't even bother. Don't even bother heating the house,
Oh, wow.
because no one's gonna show up." So we ended up pulling it off the market shortly after we listed it, and then we just put it back on, during the spring, like, probably like March, April, and we sold it to a veteran. He was coming with a VA loan. So it was an introductory home, and, yeah, it was you learn. You learn no matter what.
Bought it on auction, fixed it up, and then got it sold. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So I gotta ask, when did you come across Pace Morby and sub
Yeah. So good, and I'm so blessed and thankful that I have. I actually hired Steve Trang. So years later,
Okay.
I remember where I was. I was working electrical at a house with my partner was inside, I was outside. And I'm like, we're getting bigger now, and we've done a lot more. We've done burrs. We're doing our own apartment buildings and stuff now at this point, where they're full gut, you know, 3 families, 2 families, but I'm talking 1900s house down to the studs, make a staircase that goes up to the attic that never had one, add another bedroom up there. I mean, we're maximizing home size, home square footage in these places. And I'm outside, I'm like, I need a business coach. That's what I said. I thought I needed a business coach. And I was listening to podcasts at the time. This is like 2018, no, 2019-ish. And I'm like, yeah, so I kick a can down the road a long time later, and then I find Steve Trang and Real Estate Disruptors, and he like his podcast. Like, the guy just is he just sounds so smart. He sounds so, he's poised. His demeanor is just great. And I'm like, this guy's a smart guy. He's Asian. The Asians are smart, and it's like the joke I would say. It's not rude. I think it's true. Like I was like, I just want a smart guy to like a different style from me. And I want someone different. I need someone to like smarten me, like smack me up and tell me what I'm doing wrong. Little did I know I bought a sales course. No idea Steve had a sales course. I thought I was just getting like a mentor.
Okay.
And then that was like probably getting to like 2020. And then I ended up meeting someone inside the sales course. I went to Arizona, did the Steve Trang thing. I had his mentorship for a year, weekly coaching calls with him. And I met a guy in there, and he's like, bro, you ever hear of Pace Morby? I'm like, I think I've seen his stuff on like Instagram. And bro, I've said this maybe 1 other time, 2 other times. I didn't really get a vibe from him. I really didn't. I thought it was kind of gimmicky.
Huh.
And
Well,
I'm like, I think the guy's kind of full of like, I don't even know what he did. But I always saw it, and I didn't really, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. It was too much for me. Little did I know that that's like the absolute best human in my life. And I love the man to death.
yeah.
And I owe him everything. But it's funny how that happens, where I was like, just didn't get a vibe at first.
Right.
But it took me 1 second to meet him, or 1 second to like actually open my mind to like what his stuff was, because it was just ads. And
Okay.
I wasn't attracted to the ads.
Right.
And once my buddy Steve, he told me, he's like, bro, you should go check this dude out. He's like, you're right there. I was already like looking at deals. I was already wholesaling. I was already like doing stuff around that, like seller finance. And he's like, bro, this is for you. I'm like, what does he do? And then I dug into it real quick, and I'm like, yep, sign me up. Same year as Steve Trang, sign me up.
Okay. So 2020, you joined SubTo?
2021. So it was like toward the tail end of Steve's 1-year mentorship. I'm like, yep, this is it. This is where I'm going next. That's what I'm doing.
So how did you end up meeting Pace?
I don't know. Honestly, it was I jumped in to SubTo. I remember going on like the first call or whatever the first time. He was, on Zooms all the time, and there was like 2,500 students then. So it was 2021 mid-year. It was about this time 2021. And yeah, went on. I had a 6 unit that I was already negotiating some like seller finance component with it. And he gave me some advice. And the first time he's like, bro, take my CPA, record it. I'm going to set you up. Here's his email. Take my CPA, go do an interview. As long as you record it and put it out to the community, I'll pay for it, like whatever. And because the seller had some tax questions.
Okay.
So like immediate, like look at the immediate value. You come into a community and the guy's like, here's my CPA. But then how did I meet him? It was, I think the first time I met him, oh no, I bought the mastermind about 2 months in, 3 months in.
Okay.
So it ended up being August mastermind 2021. And I saw Pace is getting bigger. I saw that he was like getting a TV show, and I'm like, bro, this guy's not gonna be able to do masterminds. He's gonna get way too big. This place is gonna get so popular, and I'm gonna miss my boat. And that's sort of how I look at things, like just if I analyze it, but I'm like, calculate the risk, calculate what's going on. And so I did the mastermind, and there was like 20 of us, 20, 30 max in a room. Cody, Pace, Jamil, Matt, Bart, and a bunch of other people. And bro, I sat front row. I'm like, especially when you come to these things, you sit front row. This isn't the high school class. You're not going to sit in the back and goof off with your friends. this is real deal. So I went right to the front when everyone's kind of not sure what to do. Oh, I'm gonna stay back. I'm nervous. Um, and that's why I sat for 3 days and I was just like this, just looking up, listening, interacting. Um, and I think he said he saw something too, though. And I don't want to speak for him, but he came up to me one of those days, and I'll never forget it. And he came up, and we were doing hot seats, and he's like, "I've been waiting all weekend to hear your story." And like he said it like privately, and I was like, "Huh, this guy's watching. This guy's watching me." That
Mhm.
was it. Like, rest is history. I think I just kept showing up, showing up, showing up.
So now I see on your Facebook you're a host of the Get Creative podcast. That's the Pace with Pace Morby, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's
I was
super.
confused at first. I was like, it's okay, he's the host, but then it says with Pace Morby, and I never see your name in there. So I was looking around some of them.
Yeah, so they're not even out yet. So the first one actually they're all pre-recorded. So
Okay.
we record what they're trying to do. Bro, I'm gonna tell you right here, I'm gonna say it out loud, whether people want to hear it or not, or Pace, I don't think he cares. We're going for bigger pockets, bro.
Okay.
We're going full Monty, going for this community, SubTo Community, Astro, all like the whole community that we're all a part of. And I
Uh-huh.
say the big collective family between top tier TC, all that.
Yeah.
Um, like we're going for, business, everything domination. We're going to be bigger than bigger pockets. And that's Pace's vision that I'm going to try to follow.
Mhm.
And what he's actually doing is like he's highlighting and bringing in the community to elevate. He wants to bring the community up and those in the community. So what transpired was like he's like, "Great, I can be the podcast. Sure, people want to hear me, but do they really want to just hear me all the time,
Yeah.
or do they want to hear other of my people in our community and those who are doing different things in different areas?" Their perspective and them interview something. Let's switch it up. So let's elevate some others. So that's what he's doing. He's bringing this like about 5 of us right now. And we're all doing these like 20, 30-minute podcasts. And we're going to bring other people who are doing their first deals and other deals. And it's like, again, you could be a Gator, GC, freaking SubTo, Astra, whatever it is, as long as you're doing business here, like let's talk about it. You got a cool deal, let's share it.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and we're gonna change the community. We're gonna change the way it's been taught, I think, is what we're trying to do, and it's his vision. We're just following it, and that's it. Like, so I'm excited. We're pre-recording them all. They then come out every, like, 2 weeks, and I think that's gonna every day there's a new podcast out, so you might get Kevin Cho, Ingrid Hernandez, um, the Brileys. I know they're down in Texas too. Myself, yeah.
That's badass. So tell us about your real estate with Justin YouTube. You have a bunch of content on there. I've been seeing, I see your content come up all the time. The reels, you're doing a lot of reels, a lot of stuff. How is
Yeah.
it? Tell us about that. And then I got another question about it. So,
Sure. No, and that's all brand new stuff for me. So this is all new to me, right?
Mhm.
So I think just like the rest of us, we're just trying to like do the right thing, do the content, put the stuff out, share our experiences, and that's mainly what I'm not even. I wish I can actually do a little bit deeper. So I'm gonna get better at the reels. I'm gonna get better at the shorts and the YouTube content. Um, like we're ramping up right now, but just trying to put some stuff out for now,
Right. So
to
you
make
doing
sure
it
I'm
yourself
doing it.
or you got a team behind you helping you with your content?
I have a small team helping me. There's a girl doing a lot of edits. I have an assistant that does a lot of stuff, just day-to-day stuff with me. Um, and in the busy world of all how we all, the entrepreneurial world we are all in, we're doing a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
So more and more, I'm focusing on the social and the creative. You know, in this type of environment, that is my focus.
Right. Do you got to remind yourself daily, hey, I gotta do some content today. I gotta do this. Or
Oh,
luckily you got
bro.
the team. So I'm doing it by myself. So I got to remind myself or I get busy. It's like my content is kind of dwindled. I need to get back
Yeah.
on top of it.
Bro, I your name of this podcast is so freaking dope, by the way. Like,
That's Pace.
yeah, it's
You know,
so good.
he did. I got the name because I joined I joined Sub 2 about a year ago. And then right after I got Shiny Object, I got right into I thought I had to do everything Pace was putting out. So I got into Project Forward. I was trying to do it all, and I was like driving myself nuts. But so I did the podcast, and he said something about, he kept saying for action takers, for action takers. So I was like, boom, that's my name for my podcast. And that was
Bro,
it. It stuck. So
that resonates with me so much. And I've used that phrase before. I only want to deal with action takers. And so
exactly.
happy. So love that name.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's really, yeah, I like it too. It's stuck with me. It's just like you got to take action. I don't know what I'm doing all the time, but I know if I just do something, it's gonna be okay, whether I make a mistake or not.
Bro, that's it. That is 90. I found out it was like 99, and we'll get to that question too.
Hmm.
It's like 99% of what actually this is and everything we do. If you just literally show up somewhere, if you just like, all right, go to the mastermind, just show up. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to have a business necessarily, but you do
Hmm.
want to show up. And like next thing you know, someone goes, "Hey, you don't have a business? Come with me. I'll show you how to do a business." Like, you wouldn't have gotten that if you didn't show up.
Right, and
In
then
your mind, you're like, "No, I'm not. I'm less than. I can't show up because I don't have a business." No, show up.
see, now you're
Like,
touching on the mindset stuff.
well, yeah, but it's like to me, it's all related.
It is, and I never
It's
realized that.
yeah,
It
yeah,
took a while. It took a
yeah,
I got in here and got swamped, and then it was just like, "Holy moly," I never realized how important mindset was, how important, networking was. I'm kind of I'm a stubborn old bitch and tend to try to do everything myself, try to do everything myself to start. I gotta start this myself, and once I get it going, then I can bring in others,
yeah.
so.
I think that's all of us, man. I think that really is truly, I bet you and I have a lot of similarities, if you really look at it too. And that's the unprogramming that we've had to do. And I'm still doing that to this day. That's why I told you like Pace is like on my shoulder, yelling at me in my ear. If I like start picking the tools up and like literally doing like days worth of work, I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, don't. And I even told people, I'm like, don't put this out on YouTube. Don't put this out on Instagram or anything because I do not want him seeing me working. Um, because it's like my big brother, accountability, but unprogramming that, uneffing yourself
It's so
is
hard.
the hardest part.
It has been very difficult. I was
Yeah.
struggling. I mean, I'm still struggling. I'm still going through the
Yep.
struggles, but right around Christmas, before Christmas, and right through the holidays, man, I was having a real hard time. I was thinking, did I make the right decision? You talked about when you first met or came across Pace, it didn't really strike a chord. I saw his ads too, and I was like, this guy's so full of shit. That's what I first thought. My first impression of Pace was just another full of shit real estate guy on the internet.
Mhm.
And then a buddy of mine here, Michael Hayes, I found out that he was in SubTo, and I was like, no shit. So I really
Mm.
started paying attention.
Yeah.
And that's when it's like, wow. And then seeing Michael Hayes, I watched him for a while, and just like it blew me away.
Yeah.
When I
No,
joined, then when I joined the community, it was a whole, oh man, amazing. It's just the most amazing thing I've done.
yeah, isn't it? And Todd, you're right. Um, but that's the thing. It's like, well, first of all, you questioned yourself. And I was just gonna tell you that, like, in my opinion now, but such I wouldn't have had this opinion either. It's like, oh, you're on the right path. When you're ready to pack it up, that's when you double down. It's the uncomfortable. And that's a good part. That's the point I strive for now because like complacency is like it's boring to me. And so we get somewhere, you're like, "Ugh, this is boring." Go get uncomfortable again. Go find something to go F up
Mhm.
or get uncomfortable with. Go do whatever. So I was gonna say, like, you were in a good spot, in my opinion, if you rephrase that too.
Right.
Like,
Didn't
"Oh shit, I
feel
was
like
being tested."
it. Yeah. Didn't feel like it at the time, but it's a learning situation. And I told myself that, I'm not one that really gives up stuff. So when stuff gets difficult, I'm glutton for punishment, I guess. I tend to punish myself, and I'm gonna dig in and I'm gonna figure this shit out. That's
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna figure it out.
That a boy. I love that. And that's the I think that again, I that resonates. That aligns with me too. So much respect to you for that. And that's it. Like we just got to keep showing up.
Right. Well,
And
that's what they
yeah,
were told, and that's what I remember Pace always saying, persistence, as long as you stay, you keep doing, you keep doing, you keep doing, don't give up. So,
yeah,
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
So I diverted us too from that. I think you had a question on something else, but my apologies for just.
Well, I wanted to get into mindset. Well, what
Mm.
were your biggest struggles when you first got started? You remember some of the hard things you had to overcome?
Yeah, I think, personally, there's things that I would self-sabotage, I think, and I still find myself looking to self-sabotage once in a while.
Yeah,
Um, you
yeah,
know, and then you obviously, that probably strikes a chord with you too.
very
Um,
much so. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, I think again, now it's cool to reflect back on some of the progress and, like, where I was just 'cause, you could start something 10 years ago, like the real estate thing, but really only the last 3 to 4 years was the real ignition, the real, nitrous really pressed to
Hmm.
some degree, right? So it's funny how that works. But man, self-sabotage is a big one. I'd say, even like, yeah, friends, like, bro, even comes down to, like, I'm selling my motorcycle that I haven't ridden in, like, 2 years or 3 years, and it took me just, like, the other day with one of my partners, we just, like, we're buying, like, this big property, and we're doing a bunch we just bought a bunch of stuff, really, and we're both coming up together as well, and he's like, "I got a garage full of toys, I don't even use them." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'm sick of being a child, like, what the freak am I holding on to this motorcycle for?" Because I kept saying, "Man, I just wanna keep it for, like," and this is just an example,
Hmm.
but I'm like, my mindset was, "Let me just keep it for the rainy day or whatever," and I'm like, "Bro, I got 2 little girls at home. Sure, that's not really gonna stop me from going on the motorcycle per se, like, but it does a little bit,"
Hmm.
and I'm like, "That's just not my vibe right now." Like, I'd rather sell that, take the 10 grand, and I can go make that 10 grand it's gonna make me way happier because 'cause I'm just gonna go probably buy something. I'm gonna go buy a job or buy, like, an asset or whatever it is, like, buy a project and have some fun, and
Yeah.
that is the new fun, but that I just had to settle that in my mind, like, last week.
Right. That's your new fun. Hey, I do enjoy doing this.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
totally
not a
do.
job, it's not work, it's something you have to enjoy. So
Yeah, but, like, just think about that little like, it's just one component, right? But it's like, it took me 2 years that I haven't ridden this motorcycle. What the hell am I holding on to it for? Because of the rainy day that's gonna come someday? No, it's fucking me being a dummy and holding on to something in the past that I don't yeah, good, I like motorcycles, cool, okay. And it doesn't serve me right now.
holding on to something in the past. Yeah, it doesn't, and there you go. The keyword. It's not serving me right now. It's not serving any purpose. So why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just had that little revelation like 2 days ago on the way home from a project with my partner, and he said the same thing. He's like, "Fucking, what are we doing?" He's like, "Get rid of all the shit in the garage. Get rid of all the toys." So that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna liquidate and, like, just because. It's not because of the money, it's because I just gonna get rid of the obstacles in my life, and I'm gonna cut the shit out, cut it out, cut it out. And actually going to Pace's house and, like, I stayed with him for 4 days,
Okay.
that actually has a little bit to do with it as well.
Oh, really?
Um because, yeah, when I look around his house and you look around and just, like, what he actually has and what he's doing, he got rid of I actually went through his toolbox because I was fixing something in his guest house, and he's like, "Bro, good luck finding stuff." He's like, "I gave all my tools away." But he has, like, a shop he has a beautiful stuff, and but he's like, "Yeah, I don't have what I used to have," and I get that, and he's like, "I sold it all," and it made me think, I go, "I got a trailer sitting in my house, a job trailer, filled with tools, filled with all cool stuff, all my shit. And, like, I used to tow those to my projects and leave it there, and I had my little workshop there. I'm like, "Fuck it, get rid of that." And then I look around the garage, I'm like, "There's no toys, there's no motorcycle, there's no four-wheelers, there's no," it's clean. He's got his cars. He's got his
Hmm.
golf clubs. He's got his guns, and he's got a couple tools.
Ah, he's a gun enthusiast.
Oh, bro. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Makes me like him even more now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he just went out and bought a bunch of new stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was out at his office, And he ended up, he's like, yo, where you at? You coming shooting? I'm like, no, I'm at your office with your employees. And they all went shooting. He bought like, he's like, I just bought another gun. And yeah, he's got some nice stuff.
Oh man,
Rifles and yeah.
dude, I'm gonna have to go shooting with y'all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like going shooting.
Now, yeah, you're not gonna have me. I'm not cashing those in. Those we're buying more and we're keeping those.
Okay, so that's the new toys.
Yeah.
Some of the new toys.
Yeah.
Yeah. The important toys. Those are the good toys.
Yeah, bro. So that's really like where the mind shifts. That's some of the mindset stuff for me is cutting out uh the negative, whether negativity or just the fat.
Well,
Cut
that's
the
what I want
fat.
yeah, to bring up. I was watching your video on negative people. You had a part 1 and part 2
Yeah.
on dealing with negative people. So tell us, how do you deal with the negative people?
Love it. And again, you're gonna hear the word Pace Morby out of my mouth all the time, no
Right?
matter what I do. And so this is again, so that this stems from a local gentleman that locally that we became friends. He was in the SubTo community, he came in the SubTo community. I like I've been in this New England family for a while, and we became friends. And he's an aggressive salesman, and he's doing the whole thing, and he's good at what he does. But we quickly like he ended up like taking some action, getting some deals, and I'll fast forward the story, but he got some deals and he's like, I don't know how to do SubTo deals. I don't know how to do all this stuff. Can you like help me? I'm like, absolutely. So then we kind of like squatted up. And, fast forward, I guess, it comes to like we had a decent little relationship where he was like, hey man, do you want to do business together? And I was always hesitant. There was something just in my belly that said, I don't want to go into business with you, but I like where we're at. Like you get a deal or something, we can squat up and do some stuff. He ended up getting a deal. I helped him on. He's like, bro, I'm gonna move my family in here. He was like borderline, didn't have anywhere to live. And I'm like, this is perfect. Move your family in. Helped him do like the loan mod, TC, gave him the title company, structured the deal, the whole thing. And bro, he like flips, like next thing you know, 3, 4 months later, he flips the thing, makes like 200 grand on it. But like the point of my story where I'm gonna get to is, and where Pace like scolded me is like, I didn't charge anything, no assignments. I didn't split anything. I did get a deal from him, right? But I also had to pay him 5 grand for it.
Oh, wow.
But I never received $1 from any of the like anything that he did. So, but even before that, it started to get, I think he just started to get a little bit, um, I guess it's hard for me to say this, but I own it more and more, but it's like, there's like a jealousy, there's an envy, there's like this hate that started to brew that he would start like going on like Instagram or whatever and be like, oh, you know, I'm not an influencer, and, like, he was just back ending insulting me, and everybody would see it, they're like, "I think he's talking about Justin,"
Hmm.
and I was like I just ignored it, ignored it, ignored it, and what happened was Pace I said it to Pace, I'm like, because it got aggressive, started to get aggressive because I wasn't feeding into it, and I got an assistant, he didn't like that, he said I was big timing him. Imagine that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so that shows I know where that's his mindset is so low, that he can't elevate and be okay with someone else. Like, I needed help. I need help in my life,
Mhm.
and he was just like jaded by it, hated it. And I could si but he would be nice a little bit here and there, and then he'd just back end, like, the back end, people would tell me that what's going on. So
Oh,
I cut it completely out of my life, and that I think angered more.
mhm.
And I went to
It
Pace.
does.
We played golf, um, I don't know, a couple months ago, and I was at his place. He treated me, oh, Super Bowl. And I had like 2 hours and 2.5 hours with him. And it was at that time, this thing was bothering me. And he sat there, he literally like parked the golf cart in like the middle of the fairway. There's like old people coming up to us being like, hey, you guys like, can you move? And Pace is just like, yeah, 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 yeah. He was so passionate about what he was going to tell me. And he's like, this is your fault. You created this monster. And he's like, I've been in the same exact situation. Of course he has, because like the dude's lived 10 lives by now, it seems like. And he's like, you created this monster. You let me ask you, did you guys do business together? Did you give him deals? Did you charge him? I'm like, nope, nope, nope. He's like, bro, you fed the monster. Your expectations into this with him was shit. You
Mm.
didn't give him any expectations. There were no expectations between you guys. So when all of a sudden he starts to get fat and healthy and this kid gets his flip and does this and like you've taken care of it, you're a fucking villain, man. You're the villain. And he's
Mm.
like, "I know exactly where you are right now. I have one right on me right now," he said. So he's like, "Bro, going forward, you need to set the expectations right up front. When you do a favor for someone, you let them know you're doing them a favor because it's gonna haunt you."
Wow.
Bro,
See,
I didn't know any of this.
I didn't either. You're filling me in right now. So
Yeah,
this is good, very good information. So
yeah,
I never looked at it like that.
yeah.
It's oh wow.
Yep. So, like, that kid having the audacity to, like, you know, skimp out, have scarcity mindset, like, not even take care of, like, a dude that just helped you out with the house and all that stuff, like, countless deals for him to, like, flip the script on me and
Mhm.
make me feel like I'm the idiot or I'm the bad guy, which clearly I understand that I already know that I'm not. I
Mhm.
know where I messed up. I will take accountability on what Pace actually said because it's true. But, yeah, same with you, that awakening that I found and I had with him, and I'm like, "Dude, you are so right." Like he knew the whole story without knowing the whole story, and it's amazing how that is.
Huh.
So, um, action items, or I would say, like, the takeaways on that is whenever you're going into something with somebody, yeah, it's like and that's weird, it's awkward. For me, it is. I'm a passive guy, I'm not a confrontational guy.
Right.
Um, telling someone that, like, "Hey, this is a favor," is still a little bit hard for me to swallow, but I gotta do it. And secondly is you need to set the expectations when you guys are doing some stuff together. If Todd and I are doing things together, it's like, "Hey, man, I'm just gonna let you know, like, yeah, if it's for your family, great, that's cool, like, just take care of me on something else maybe, or just kick me, like, whatever, kick me back something else, or if you got another deal, we'll swap deals, but there's an expectation here that, like, there is gonna be some sort of compensation somewhere,
Mhm.
but I want you to win. You don't have to pay me now," or you know what I mean? Like, this has to be something there,
Right.
and that's the lesson.
Well, communication. That's what I'm seeing too. Is we've come in a time where communication has fallen by the wayside. People don't like to communicate anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe through text or simple, quick, easy communications, but nobody really likes to get down to the nitty gritty,
Yeah.
and it's
Dude,
uncomfortable. But yeah, there again, when you hit those uncomfort levels, they tend to work out in good ways. So
yeah. No, Todd, you're so right.
yeah, man, it's so Pace. How often do you spend time with Pace now? You do a lot of stuff with him.
No, I mean, I do say that I'm truly, truly, truly thankful and blessed. I think, as of lately too, he definitely puts gasoline on individuals, right? At
Hmm.
his choosing. And I think he does it in phases for people too, or he'll have like a wave. So I know that like, listen, I've been here for a while and I just keep showing up, right? And I'm just consistent with what I do. And I lead the New England community. I co-lead the New England community. I've done that for a while. And like I think all the things just compound to the point where he's just like, I don't know, I've got his attention to be consistent. Whatever he asks, I do. And whatever I ask, I actually show up and do, like perform. And that's like what an employee still, bro. Like if I was chose to go work somewhere, I'd be the best damn employee there. And I can say that um without being like, I don't know, sounding like conceited or something.
Right.
It's just true. Like I just show up and I'm like, I might not be the best at it or the smartest, but I'm gonna freaking
Work
outperform,
hard as shit. Yeah.
work hard as shit to make it like, yeah, to make you not realize that I don't know everything. But
Right.
I think that's what it is, and honestly, like, he's paving the path for a lot of us, and now that I've got to spend the time with him and so, yes, it's seems like every other couple months or every month I'm kind of in and around that world. There'll be a couple month break and then I'm there. Um, Quarterly, we'll say, for simplistic reasons. Um, but bro, that's like my church. That's my SubTo and this community and stuff is like my religion too. Not a real religious guy, but I understand there's right and wrong and evil and bad and good and bad and all that stuff. And I think karma is a big one. So this keeps me accountable. He keeps me accountable. And I just want to freaking serve this community. And I think serving this community has been the best thing I've ever done. And it's the fruits of the labor are amazing.
Yeah. And I heard about you right away in SubTo, and then also a lot of people talk about you. I did an interview, Tony Eisenhower. He had talked a lot about you, and I think he had done. I don't know if you did some business with him or not, but he spoke very highly of you when I did the interview. So you've been one
Sweet.
I've been watching also, and I do this podcast just so I can basically, and I'm not going to, I do it so I can meet y'all. I got Pace scheduled in September so I can interview him and finally I've talked to him a few times on the Daily Dials, but I don't get to talk to him much. So I bet it's pretty awesome. Because his vision and stuff. What do you think about his visionary, skills? I mean, it blows me away the things he's doing. It's just like, wow.
Bro, I study him.
Yeah.
I bet you I seem like I can say I'm like I study him more than anybody. It's not true, but I study that man because he is like it's inspiring and he is good. I mean, for him to tell me, I'll tell you about Tony Robbins, but I'll go back to that and I'll write that down. But Pace is like freakishly good at like reading people, knowing the situations. And that's why I say, I'm like, dude, for a 41, 42-year-old man to have this type of wisdom is freaking unheard of, it seems like. But I mean, I just respect the hell out of it. And bro, I mean, you do a fantastic job at interviewing and podcast and like you're natural, like
You think so?
oh dude, I think it's yeah, you're great.
I've struggled with it, but I just keep doing it. Sometimes I don't want to do it, but it's just like when I first started, like I told you, I didn't want to do this. I was like, Pace, he set this down. I was like, man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But
Yeah.
I did it.
No, bro, I think you should continue to do it. And what you said, and I know I just jumped over, but um, the reason that is your hack, that is your cheat code, is to do the podcast to meet the people. Because I'll tell you this, I didn't have a podcast. I've been saying I was going to do one, and again, you said something earlier that resonated with me too. It's like I'm by myself and shooting the content and creating the content. Bro, I was just outside of my office here, like with this camera and this thing, like the people are driving by. I'm on a main road here, and like I was like, you're looking at me, who's this weirdo with his camera and like tripod by himself? It sucks. It sucks. And there's no like energy. You got to hype yourself up. But like you showing up doing the podcast is a cheat code and I'll tell you why. Pace again, thankfully his team and everyone, they gave me an opportunity to do coaching like last year. They said, "Hey Justin, we're going to start some coaching inside the mentorship." They were charging more higher tiered SubTo courses. And so they're like, "Hey, we're just going to look for a couple coaches to just for these like executive students." And I'm like, "Cool. Yeah. All right. I'll do it." And I'm like, "It's not the money." I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm going to get a job now. I'm going back to like having someone watch me. I'm going to be accountable for something." But I go, "No, you know what? There's a freaking, that's the normal mentality, be like, oh, I'm going to get a job. I have a boss now. Oh shit. F that." No, it's because, and I know why. You got to go, why is Pace saying this? What's the reason? I know what the reason is, because obviously it's going to create sales for him too. Great. But the other side of the coin, the flip side of the coin is I get to get in front of people who paid $18,000 to get into the mentorship. So there's probably a level of entry where there might just be lenders in there. There might be higher individuals who need someone like myself, maybe to help them get their deals and maybe JVing and like it's exposure is what it is.
Right. And did you think this way like 3 years ago?
Hell no.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Like it would have been like, I would have done it, but I would have had the employee mindset,
Yep.
you
I
know?
still do. I still have I'm still breaking that down. I still have employee mindset. I still have a
Yeah.
W-2 and it's a hard thing to get away from.
Yeah, it is. And I think what that comes down to is like you gotta be prepared and you gotta be ready and you gotta get yourself around like either that or you gotta get the right like team or partner or someone to like freaking grind it out to get to that like jump over the hurdles that need to like, all right, I think we got it. We got enough, a little bit of a egg, nest egg, or we got a little bit of cash flow coming in. All right, cool. Like
Yeah.
shit falls. We'll be okay for now.
Mhm.
But this is the runway and we gotta go and we can't look back. And I
Yeah.
think that's like the secret, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's part of it. I mean, I'm a single parent and I have a blind mother, so and then I have a W-2. So trying to juggle that and this, it's been but I just do a little bit here, do a little bit there. It's
Mhm.
just keeping focus, keeping moving forward. That's all I keep trying to do. And hey, if
Yeah.
I take a step back, that's okay too. I'm not gonna beat myself up over it anymore. So,
No, you can't. And I would say like and like, what do you have? Like, it's almost like that. What do you have? What do you need?
mhm,
It's like, what does Todd bring to the table? Because you're gonna compliment somebody and someone's gonna need your stuff. Or like you meeting people
mhm.
get you now like exposure to go, well, you got a deal. I know that you got a deal too. You need funding. And I just met like people. I know someone who has some money. It's like you
Well,
literally are also like a connector too.
that's kinda yeah, it because I'm meeting buyers, I'm meeting money people now, and
Yeah.
we got a lot of money. We got a lot of private money here in Houston, so I'm meeting a lot of lenders, going to a Chai's event here at the end of the month. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
I
that'll be
just
good.
my one of my friend Eric Irvine's going down there too. And I know Brenda, who I just met from Houston.
Yeah,
She's gonna
North
be there.
Monroe. Yeah,
Yeah, you guys have a great time.
yeah, it's gonna be good. Hey, if you talk to Brenda, tell her I want to get her on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll put you guys in touch. She was a great guest.
Yeah, was
And
she?
she's done I don't want to give it away, but she's done her first deal we talked about too, but subsequently she's got some other ones under her belt.
Mhm.
She's got a W-2.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
Yeah, she's right
so
here in Houston. I've talked to her before. I tried to when I first started the podcast, I asked her, "Hey, you want to get on?" She's like, "No, I'm focusing on this right now." And and come to find out, she was scared of it, scared of doing the
yeah,
stuff. So
she
yeah,
was good. I'll tell her I'll see what I can do on that one because why
just
not,
a little
right?
pressure. Yeah, she knows. Yeah. I asked her, I reached out and said, "Hey, so I saw an interview she was doing with Pace and how Pace was saying, hey, you were scared to do the podcast and be on camera not too long ago. And now look at you." And so I was like, so, hey, are you ready to get on my podcast? So, yeah, a
Yeah.
little pressure would be good.
Well, yeah, bro, and it's not like you're good at it. Like I think you're
Man, I appreciate that.
yeah. So I think that would be a good fit.
Cool, cool. Well, we're getting close to an hour. I have a question I like to ask all my guests at the end for right now. I just started doing this, but and this is for mindset because I think mindset is real important, and I've been having struggles with it, so it's something I'm working on. What do you find more important, or what is more important, and where would you get the most gain with more positive thinking or with less negative thinking?
Oh, the positive, I think. Positive outweighs it's like good will crush the evil all the time, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously, it's like you can look at it either way, but bro, positive thinking it's the positive mental attitude, PMA.
Right.
Is the way to go, in my opinion, because obviously with more consistent positive PMA, you're not you have no time for the negatives. Um, so yeah, it's the good stuff. It's the best part of it. And I find myself slipping once in a while, you
Mm-hmm.
know. I find myself like maybe gossiping or just like making fun or doing something like that. I'm like, shit. Even my wife tells me, she's like, hey, knock it off with that negative talk. Knock it off with that like and I'm like, that like to my old playful, like kind of like immature self coming out.
Right. Well, we all
Um,
have it. We all
yeah.
have.
And I think it's a time and a place is what I like, but then you become like, let's be real. Like for myself, I become a little bit more of a rigid asshole though, too,
Mhm.
where it comes like I'm too hyper focused on performance in mind and like align. Like when I'm at paces, I'm like a freaking monk like, and she's like, "What's up with you?" I'm like, "I'm fucking showing up." Excuse me, I'm dropping F-bombs too
No,
much.
I don't care. It doesn't
All
matter.
right, cool. But I'm like, I'm a different human. And
Mhm.
and I told her, I'm like, I'm here. We're here for one time. It could be the last time.
Right.
I have to show up and I'm so hyper vigilant on everything going on. I gotta absorb, I gotta perform, I gotta make sure that I'm not caught slipping, right? Like all those things. So too much like we start to become
Yeah. I
yeah, we start
I just yeah, that's great. So where do you what's going on? You got the podcast. You said you had some podcasting or not a podcast, but you got some videos going to be coming out with the Get Creative, right?
yeah, so I think what they're doing to get creative. So I know I got a little like wild earlier on that, but it's like, yeah, we're bringing up everyone's coming up. We're doing it's gonna be on like audio. I think a lot heavier on audio. So
Okay.
you're gonna find the Spotify's and the quick listens on Apple and wherever the other podcasts go. I think the good stuff is gonna come out on Pace might put it on his YouTube channel. So I
Okay.
don't think there's gonna be all video out there. But yeah, we're gonna just do these quick and like highlight. I wanted to get the Todds on, we got Brenda on, and there's countless others that are coming up the pipeline. And I'm like also putting names in to
Mhm.
like, so I'd love to hear if you got a little bit of a backstory. I'd love to bring you on too and throw your name in there. Um, but yeah, it's gonna come out. It's again, we're just elevating the community pace is trying to bring up others, not just one person. He wants to be the one like literally pushing us from the butt, pushing us up. Like,
And I see
you
that. That's why
yeah.
that yeah, I see that with the community, and that's why I've been blown away. It's like you don't find this. Uh, this is my first mentorship, and especially in real estate. But I've looked at others, but I'm a very skeptical and an untrusting person, and
Yeah.
I do have a story, and my background is caused me to be somewhat untrusting. So
Mhm.
of certain or of people. So it takes me a while, so it took me a while to open up and then start seeing, okay, well, this is a real deal and see how it's just amazing. He blows me away. And like you're saying, how he can read people. I want to get in front of Pace and say, tell me what I'm good at. Tell me what I should do. Tell me what I need to do. That's kind of what I've wanted to do at sometimes. Like, man, if I could
Yeah.
just in front of him and he just tell me, do this, do that, do this. I'd be like you. I have no problem doing it. I'll do whatever you tell me to do because I
Yeah,
don't have
it's
the answers.
I know, and he might depending on, like I would say that you definitely wanna just say, give him the come up with your whys is a big one, and I'm not trying to give you, like, a lesson either on it, but I can see, like, he gets this question literally, like, 12
All the
times
time.
a day. Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you go to a meetup, it's very constant, so I would say too, like, bring so he can dial in even further for you. It's
Mhm.
like, you come, get, like, the 3 minutes and give him like the quick elevator pitch. Be like, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. I'd like to do this, this, and this, but I have maybe this hang up. Where do you think, like, what are you seeing? Who should I go to? Who should I align with? And like, that's when he's freaking on.
Yeah.
It's like he knows the name, he knows where to go, and like the bridge's name, you know, it's
Yeah.
crazy. So, yeah, try to do a little bit of homework, and I'm gonna say it's gonna say like, you're gonna get $1,000,000 lesson.
I bet.
Oh, so good.
I can't
And,
wait. I'm
yeah,
already nervous about the interview with him, and that's in September.
he's gonna make it so natural, you're gonna have so much fun.
Yeah.
And, you're probably run into him by now. I know he's actually going to Texas, I think, today, but probably not near you.
I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna be in I've met him once. He was, we had a meetup, a SubTo meetup back in November, I think. I got to meet him. So, yeah, he's cool. It's cool. He he blows me away. Where does he get the time to do all this? And like you said, you're studying him, and it's just like, I would like to. It's like, how does he do it?
Yeah, and I mean, I
What's
got
his
to live
energy?
there, too, so, like, it's a cool experience. Um, how um, he's a master I'll tell you this, like, bro, I'll talk about Pace Morby for days. Um, he's a master communicator,
Mhm.
master communicator, and a master delegator.
That's what I see. I see the delegation part.
Mm.
Communication, I told him, I think on one of his, project forwards, I told him, "You kinda scattered." And he's, "I'm not scattered." I'm like, "Well, you kinda jump around and do this, and you never hit back on this point." So
Ooh, you You, you what do they say? Is like, "Ooh, you fired some shots back. Oh, you fired a shot at him."
Yeah.
Good, good. No, I get it, and there is a little bit of like, yeah, like the ADD kind of in
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I mean, I think he's just dialing up his communication too, and sure, we're not all perfect, but, his storytelling and all that, but when I watch, I literally got to sit I get again, studying, but I sit in his office, I literally record. I have my phone, my GoPro. Bro, whenever I'm there, I'm the people hold their phone up, right, when he's around, but like, I'm recording the whole thing,
All right.
studying, and then I play it back, and then I watch because usually there are lessons in there.
Mhm.
But what I will say is that I sat there in his office when he brought his staff in for a first meeting, and he's trying to do these every couple weeks now, but essentially it was like a State of the Union address. And they brought in, everyone ordered Chipotle and like they brought in lunch. We were there for 2 or 3 hours in there. And he just went through so much stuff, but his command, his ability to convey a message and speak and communicate is unmatched.
Yeah.
And it's like that Steve Jobs type of like going up selling the Apple iPod or whatever on stage and talking about it and all this. Same thing.
And he's like a natural. It's like a natural.
Dude, it's so good. Yeah, it's so good, and, like, again, that's when I was watching, I'm like, this is a leader leading, and I'm like, I need to be a better leader for my team and our organization, the whole thing. So I'm, like, watching, I'm like, "Oh, man, this is so good." And I gotta un-F all sorts of shit to get there,
Yeah, right? Right.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I got work to do."
We all do. I got a whole lot. See, I got
Yeah,
work to do, I got yeah, we all do. So,
yeah.
all right, I want people to know where to find you. I know you have your link tree, so tell them all your links on here. I'm gonna copy all your links and put them in the description, but I'd like
Yeah,
to
when's this going out? Are
I'll
you
probably I'm gonna probably put it up by tonight or tomorrow morning.
Oh, right on,
I
cool.
don't do any really editing. I'm just gonna download it and then I load it up. So
Right on. Yeah, StreamYard's a great tools. So I would say it's not launched. It's gonna be launched by like next week because of the podcast. We like redid everything, but I got realestatejustin.com, and then just like at realestatejustin on like socials. There's a
mhm.
link tree in there, but what I'm trying to do is obviously like if you go out to the podcast goes out to the rest of the world, not only yours, but even the Grit Creative. And I'd love to like that's what I wanna do is, like, I wanna put Todd I'd love to take this and, like, put it out also on my personal YouTube, I can't put it on Pace's, but Pace is gonna give us the stepping stone from his brand.
Mhm.
It then comes to my channel. My channel, they get to meet Todd. That's what I wanna see,
Yeah.
how to pay it forward.
Definitely, you
And
can put this I don't you can promote on like, I have a group too that goes with the, podcast, so about 1,000 members in there now, but yeah,
dope.
promote what you want in both. On here, I'm not against promotion. You We're all doing business. We're all trying to get somewhere, so
Well, yeah, but I want people I want Pace's followers, those whatever, 3, 400, 500,000, whatever they are. I want
mhm,
them to see us in the community.
okay.
And if it takes me being on people coming from the podcast to me, then they get to get Todd and then they follow Todd.
And
That's what I wanna see.
vice versa too, because 'cause I'm hoping the same thing. I'm just trying to get out,
Yeah,
put it out there too, so yeah,
absolutely, bro. That 1,000 is good achievement for you, like, so
I'm
good.
amazed. I'm blown away by
You
that. I
shouldn't
wasn't
be.
expecting that.
You shouldn't be. You're good at it. And, um, that's imposter syndrome too that we go through and we all face too. It's like, I shouldn't be. And I'm like, yeah, why am I getting this? Why am I doing this? I don't deserve it.
Mhm.
We all go through it, bro, but we gotta tell ourselves to shut up.
Yeah, exactly, that's the key. "Shut up, I don't need to listen to you today.
Yeah,
I'll listen to Pace instead."
I know, I know.
Right?
Bro,
Man,
so
I
good.
really appreciate your time. Thank you, and this was a great conversation. It was great meeting you too and, kind of in
And
person. If you
yeah,
come to Houston, man, let's hook up, go to dinner, hang out. Love to.
absolutely. Yeah, next event or something, like, we gotta connect it next time you're around. You gotta try to get over to Phoenix, try to get to Arizona.
Yeah, I want
Maybe
to.
there's another thing, we gotta get you over there and get
There's
you into
some
that.
That's some
mix.
goals for this year. So yeah, this is
Yeah.
going to be my second year starting in SubTo. May was my month I joined, so this is starting my second year. That's major goals this year.
Congrats.
I definitely want to be at Squad Up too. I didn't get to go this year, and that was a bummer.
Next year, make sure you jump right on it. And I would say like that was a warm up, bro. It's a warm up. This is a marathon.
Right.
And I know I'm not going anywhere for a hell of a long time. And I think a lot of us aren't. So stick with it, bro. And if you need accountability, you need someone, bro, hit me up too. I'd love to
Right.
talk, love to collaborate.
Definitely, most definitely, and I
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah.
definitely because I like what you're saying, and you've been an inspiration along with Pace, other ones too, like Lance Riggin and some others. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Karen Kane. I
Yeah.
mean, just you guys are doing a hell of a job at lifting people up, and I want to say thank you for that too, because
Oh, bro.
you
Yeah.
guys are a major part of this community, and you are an inspiration to us all. So thank you
No,
for everything you do. And thank you for your time, man. I do really so much appreciate. It says a lot getting a prominent figure, the big names. You're kind of one of the big names in SubTo. You take the time out, and that means a lot.
no, bro. This is so fun. And I'm selfishly meeting you now. So
Yeah.
I love it.
Cool, man. It's been cool. So as soon as we get off here, I got to let this download, and might have to keep you in the studio a little longer, but it won't be recording. So I'm going to end the recording right
Yeah.
now. Have a good one, y'all.